Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So in today's video, what is it? Crit bunny or non-crit bunny? Now, I know a lot of people in this game run non-crit because it was considered to be quote better, consistent damage, so on and so forth, but I found something that basically says otherwise. So let's get into the absolute depths of comparing non-crit bunny versus crit bunny. Let's get on into today's video. So real quick, let's just compare crit versus non-crit just inside the lab as a quick test, and then we will take this to the real world. But let's quickly compare this. For the reactor I've gotten here, it's electric singular. I'm using 2 pieces of ascending just for general skill cost on the build to make it more sustainable, and then I'm also using 2 pieces of plague for singular damage. This is the modules that I'm running, basically almost max damage modules on bunny. These two are the true max damage modules for bunnies 3, and then if you want max damage for a 4, singular master. But this is the build that I'm running. For the tree, electric cohesion's on here, even though it doesn't make the craziest difference. We've got enhanced skill power, and then we've also got arcade efficiency enhancement. So we're running very big brain damage on here. I've also got the stacks up to 15 on the actual inversion thing. So from here, we're just going to do a quick test. I'm just going to run over here and activate bunnies 2 and then at 3, and we're just going to run it into a circle. So yeah, I'm trying to make sure to keep that bar at full. So let's quickly take care of this and let's have a look. We're starting off with non-crit, and we're just going to have a look at the damage number at the end of the circle. At the end of the cast of the third ability for the first time. So with this, you can see we are kicking. We've already cooled the ability down, but we're still going. We've got time on left on here, so we're still good to go. Once the ability stops casting, we're gonna deter that as the number, and you can see here our final number in this instance was 395 million. So that is still a lot of damage. In no way, shape, or form is that bad amount of damage. However, let's compare this one to the crit setup of this. Now for the crit setup of this, I do have a different reactor. I've got crit rate and I also have singular. Then for my external components, I've got 2 pieces of mage and 2 pieces of plague. This is just generally for the way that I build this bunny. So this is the modules we're going with. We're going with all 4 crit modules. We're still going with very similar setup, but we're of course using crit and taking advantage of that. Now I am using the blue beetle. We use the blue beetle for its first ability, the fusion ability, which will allow us to essentially increase our crit rate to just shy of 50%. So we're going to be using that anyways. Then with the arcade tuning, we have got crit rate and crit damage on here, so this is going to allow us to max our damage out. So now we have 395 million as the target to beat. So let's quickly cast this and see what type of damage we get with Bunny when you use her critical hit counterpart. So let's go with this. I'm gonna do the exact same thing, except I will be casting my first ability whenever my crit is about to run out from the beetle. But yeah, this is essentially what we're going with. So you can see over here, even despite the crit rate technically being lower, the crits are so consistent that I wouldn't even call it crit fishing at this point. Almost 50% is not the craziest, but when you consider how much AoE Bunny really can take in and absolutely shred, 50% doesn't actually seem like that bad of a number. And you can see over here, we hit 50 million damage more. And bear in mind, we're not using the Slayer set on here either. If you use Slayer set, I think the MP on here becomes a little bit intolerable because you only have space for 1 module for skill cost or MP collector. So personally, I don't like running Slayer, but if you do want more damage, replace Maximize Conservation for with MP Collector and replace this with a Slayer set, and you will be getting a lot more damage out of this. But you can just see regardless, I hit like 50 million plus more damage in the same time frame. Now that isn't amazing extra damage, but it is extra damage, and that is something you do need to take into account. Okay, so let's quickly run a percent. So we've got the asylum here, and I'm going to start off by running it with crit bunny, and then I'm also going to run it with non-crit bunny. So first up, we do have crit bunny, of course, and you can see here, even whenever you're running through dungeons, the crit is consistently good, and you don't, well, apart from the fact that I'm very much sucking with bunny gameplay right now, the damage is absolutely there. And you can see crits even ranging from like 500 all the way up to like 800k. Damage is just everywhere, and this is like kind of peak. Ignore the fact that I'm playing like absolute crap, because I promise you I'm not trying my hardest or anything, so please ignore that. But you can see for the most part we're focusing more on the damage you can pull out of this at the end of a run, so that is our main thing to focus on here. See, even just in general, the crits everywhere are just monstrous, and the damage is just great. This is like the main reason. I think a lot of people kind of got eaten into the we're gonna go with the non-crit and stick with it forever, and or the idea of that is more consistent damage, but I don't think it is at this point. And you can just see from the way that my build is playing right now that it probably isn't the right call either. Even just in general, you can see MP is good, damage is insane, gameplay is kind of nuts, just bunny gameplay, and yeah, that's essentially it. Just in general, you will rip through everything, and if you do have any issues, you'll be using your 1 quite frequently anyways. If your bunny's 3 doesn't one-shot them, your bunny's 1 definitely will, so that's just something that you might want to keep in mind. And yeah, spawn trap everything, bunny gameplay, man. I don't know what else to tell you. Oh, wrong one. But even with this, you can see that our 3 is still more than capable of just ripping apart these bosses, and you don't really need to like force it very much either. I know that it's not the fastest, I'm completely aware of that, but at the same time, it's still very, very capable of killing, and you don't really need to force it or try too hard to do it either, which is the best bit about it. And condensed nuking, all of that. It's a strong build, even though I was playing like absolute trash. Yeah, you can see at the end of a dungeon, we got 700 million damage in a 400%. Granted, this was solo, so in a public one, your damage would be higher, because your mobs would be able to take more damage, and your condensers would be hitting just as hard. So yeah, 700 million damage in a dungeon, which is the main thing. I want to kind of show you the numbers without the standard ETA voucher popping up on the screen, but I don't think it's going to stop. Yeah, I don't think it's going to stop. But yeah, you can see here, 700 million damage is the main takeaway from this over here. So now let's switch over to the non-crit bunny variant, and let's see how this one handles the same dungeon. You can see in general, the damage is still there, but it's not as much damage as what you'd be seeing with the crit counterpart. You still got enough to one-shot them, but depending on build, context, scenario, all that sort of stuff, you might not even have enough damage to one-shot everything. So that's something you might want to be mindful of. Even though I'm playing much better with this build. Oh, crap. As soon as I said I'm playing better with this build, I just completely tank it. Yeah, GG's, bro. Even though you can play a lot better with this build technically, because it's a lot less effort. Crit Bunny is like the true peak of what you can do, and I strongly believe that Crit Bunny should 100% be the bunny build that you are 100% playing. Now, even with this, you can see here, I'm making my way through the mission at a decent pace. Yeah, I'm just doing whatever at this point. Just trying to get through it fast to show you the damage output at the end is the main thing I'm trying to do at this moment. But you can see here, even the damage, it's still enough to deal with everything. But in terms of what you should be running and what is the optimal setup, I still think it's Crit Bunny, because the damage here is good and all, and it's enough to deal with solo. But if you're doing duo, public, or anything like that, you want to be the one who's doing the carrying, man. And I just think that the crit setup is the one that you're going to want to be using for that. Now, I know it may seem like I'm just glazing Crit Bunny for absolutely no reason, but I truly do think that based off just generally how you play this setup, it is better to use the higher damaging one. And even with this, I'm cheating and doing an extra condense in the run, even though I didn't do it in the other one, but it's okay. I'm sure it'll be fine. And let's finish this off with some 3. There you go. Even with that, the damage in this run was just over half. 600 mil. Not a major difference. Bear in mind I did condense an extra time, so I think if I didn't condense the extra time, it probably would have been about 5-10 million less or something. But just in general, crit hits harder, and that is the absolute truth. Okay, so here we are doing a Sigma sector run. Now I know Sigma is a bit RNG with the tile sets, but I'm still going to do a Sigma run, and then I'm just going to hope that I can find the same tile sets regardless. So even with this, let's just take care of everything and you know, do as much as we can until at least the other tile set kicks in. I'm going to hope to find the same tile set with the crit one, just so we can compare the damage. It would be a really nice indicator to everything. Pick that up and pick that up. Okay. Remember, we're not after the time, we're just after the damage numbers, just to compare which one is better.
Life design flaws for this world. Resign my breath in a twirl. Forgetting numbers, forgetting my name. Shadows stretch down memory's lane. Footsteps echo soft through the rain.
How much damage did I get in this tile set? 467 million. Still promising damage. Absolutely promising damage. And yeah, okay. Now let's switch over to non-crit bunny and let's try getting landing zone indigo. Okay, so I accidentally tapped one of my binds, which basically stopped my webcam from recording. So we've just got pure unadulterated gameplay, not on my face in the corner. So we are going to run the exact same tile set, the landing zone indigo, and I'm going to speed this entire run up because I'm pretty sure you guys know what you're going to see anyways, but let me just speed it up just so nobody can say that, you know, I rigged the results or any stupid stuff like that. So yeah, I'm going to speed this up and then we'll talk about it once this run is over. So now that we've completed this run with the non-crit variant of Bunny, let's have a look at how much damage we pulled off in this run. Now, let's quickly pull our menu up, and you can see versus 400 and... Okay, we've hit about 200 million more damage in the exact same time frame or same mission. You can just see that the damage is absolutely there, significantly much better with crit, especially when dealing with elite, so on and so forth. So I do think crit is superior. Let's give it a overall rundown, pro and con list, so on and so forth. So let's get on into that. Starting off, let's talk about non-crit bunny. Now, non-crit bunny is less effort to use. In solo runs or in duo runs, I feel like the damage is okay. However, in public lobbies with 3 or more players, I feel like the damage with non-crit bunny can somewhat fall off. As in, she might not be able to one-shot nuke elites inside of a public lobby if there's 3 other players. So that's what I kind of mean by that. Other than that, she is easier to play. She's very simplistic to build. Both setups require a full catted bunny anyways, and a weapon that basically is a stat stick. So you're going to need to get 1 sprint core, and that is going to be a minimum of 10%, and then ideally 1 grapple core to let yourself infinitely spider with this as well. So both stat sticks require the same investment, both builds require the same investment, and overall ease of use, I would give the point to non-crit, because with non-crit it's just press 3 and then you're 4 whenever you want, and basically focus on jumping around. Now, let's talk about the cons of this build. Like I said, the damage is a con, especially in a 3 to 4 player lobby. Other than that, yeah, I don't really think there's that I don't think that there is very many cons to running non-crit bunny. She's very widely accepted as being a great option. So yeah, non-crit bunny is good. However, I do think that crit bunny is in fact better. 1, the damage is significantly higher within the exact same scenarios, and I've seen this several times over. As well as that, you can use the crit bunny to basically deal with purge. Now, if you are confused by what I meant by that, I'll give you a quick rundown. The builds that I've shown so far in this video are builds that will basically work in dungeons, and they are more focused around bunnies 3. However, let's talk about electric condense, because that is a completely new ball game with bunny as well. Okay, so for the fusion bunny or the condensed bunny, this is what you are going to want to go with. Now, for the build, this is what I've gone with. You want to max out your cooldown, straight up all 4 cooldown modules, 2 range modules, damage module, skill cost module. Simple. The best thing you can have is have your cooldown have 3.8 seconds, so you can spam your condense. That is the best way to play condense. Now, you might be wondering why I'm using focus on singular. Is because personally, whenever I use this build, I normally just use a skill cooldown reactor and a duration up reactor, but just for this purpose, to show you the max power of non-crit condense. Otherwise, people would be like, I use the singular reactor, blah blah blah. I'm going to use a fusion one to show you the max power, just to show you that, yeah, non-crit is again inferior. So you can see here I've got cooldown on fusion on the reactor. For the reactor on this build, you 100% want cooldown. For my comps, I've gone with 2 pieces of hunter and then 2 pieces of skill cost or ascending armory. For my tree cooldown, I've gone with electrocution vulnerability, and then I've also gone with arc efficiency enhancement. So this is the tree I'm using with this build as of right now. Ideally, you just want that cooldown, but you can see here when I do use my bunny's 4th ability, let's just do that. Let's still get this to the max, and when I let it fully completely charge and nuke, you can see 117 million damage, which is still pretty promising. Let's do that one more time just for the sake of science. 117 million, 120 million. About 120 million damage is kind of what you're going to expect. Let's just call it 115 million, between 115 to 120 million for argument's sake. Now let me go to the crit variant of this build. The crit variant of this build still uses the blue beetle for that fusion buff for the crit rate. It uses a cooldown and crit damage reactor, because, you know, for a crit damage or crit build, you do want to use this. Then we're using the exact same components, 2 pieces of ascending and 2 pieces of hunter. For the build on this one has changed slightly. We've gone with all 4 crit modules, 2 cooldown modules, 1 range module instead of 2, so you've got less range with this one, and then maximize conservation again for your skill cost. Now, even with this exact same cooldown time, it's going to be the exact same regardless. Now, with bunny here, you can essentially go crit fishing, which is something we love. Now over here immediately you can see, even if I don't bother charging it, I hit 160 million damage over there. If I want to charge it up even more, you can do that, and with that you'll just be blessed with even more levels of damage. 181 million damage over there. But you can see, regardless, crit condense hits significantly harder, and the benefit of it as well is that you're usually going to be just using your one, and your one hits 20 million. You're not going to be letting this charge. You're going to be crazy with that. And look at that, 260 million that time ish, or 200 million that time ish. Yeah, like, it's insane how much more damage you can get out of running the crit counterpart. So yeah, crit bunny is truly the better condensing bunny, and this build is basically what you should 100% be running with this as well. So now that we've established that Bunny with her emissions build is stronger with crit, and Bunny with her condensed build is stronger with crit, why is it that people still use non-crit Bunny? Now, back when the amplification mods released, this was when non-crit was generally better than crit. Crit just didn't have the reliability or the consistency back then to basically keep up. Now that we've got the arcade tree and like a million of other bloody systems, the external component cores, and everything that we have in the game, we can make crit keep up and basically out DPS non-crit in every single scenario. Now, I don't know who popularized non-crit, but whoever did it, fair play. But it's time for the old meta to return, and crit is truly back. Now, will I be using non-crit for anything? Yeah, I will still be using non-crit for speedrunning, because I think that is going to be the only use case scenario, solo speedrunning to specify that, where it will still be worthwhile. But other than that, I'm going to be using Crit Bunny for basically everything. So yeah, that's basically been this long and informative, important video, I guess, on crit versus non-crit, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing. I make plenty of videos on the first Descendant, and yeah, the biggest takeaway is invest in the crit setups that I've shown in this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace! I have this cool habit called never fucking charging anything. Another bunny video, guys? That is correct, Scarface. Another bunny video. Because you can never have enough bunny videos, you get me?
Please fix. Please fix. Please fix.
Man said please fix, you know?
Boing, boing, boing.
So slow. So slow.
Fuck you mean so slow?
Get out of the way. No chance.
Wait.
Yes, Daddy.
Bro, do you mind?
Ara.
Uh-oh. Not the worst run I've ever done, but you can still do it. It takes you a while, but you can still do it. 5-minute run? This tile set's not really the best anyways. I got a 3-minute run on the other one, but even still, this tile set, it's not bad. And you can still do it. It takes time, but you can do it with this.